Long time, YouTube. I am still alive. You can't kill me just yet. Anyways, figured I'd let anybody, the audience, know if anyone happens to tune in to this that, yes, I'm still kicking. I still got a heartbeat. And, what is it? It's early morning. Very early morning. I'd be very surprised if anyone tuned in at 3 o'clock. Well, mountain time, I guess. Anyways, just figured I'd, let everybody know I'm still here. I got a free drink. Anytime I get a free drink, I always go for the biggest possible size. Look at this thing. This thing's the size of my hand. And the funny thing is when these first came out, this must have been probably like 15 years ago. Tim's actually they changed the sizes of their cup, or they changed the title of the sizes of their cup, but the cup stayed the same. So I remember they started off, because it used to be a small, medium, large, extra large. So what they did was they changed this. They downsized the changes. So the small was technically an extra small. The medium was a small. The large was a medium, and the extra large was a large. So at one point you'd ask for a large coffee or a large hot chocolate or whatever it is that you drank, and it came in an extra large cup. It was very confusing, and the funny thing is they made a little bit on CBC. I think it was like This Hour is 22 Minutes about that whole thing. And I'll give credit when credit is due that it was basically down to a T as to how the interaction went between the customer and the employee. Obviously, just two actors playing those parts. But it was so funny and so relatable because that's exactly what it was. You went in, you asked for a small, you got an extra small. You got a medium, you got a small. It was very confusing. Thankfully, it didn't last too long, and then they went back to the usual small, medium, large, and extra large. So at least they went back to what made sense. But when they did that whole thing, I thought it was crazy. It was the strangest things I ever saw. Like it never made it a whole lot of sense in my brain, at least. Anyway, I just love French vanillas. They're the best. They're the best kind of drink. Oh, I do have somebody popping in. I appreciate this. It is really late. You can tell there's no sun, but I'm used to staying up all night. So I figured I got time. I might as well pop on the old boob tube. Anyways, it is pouring outside. I am literally just sitting in a parking lot because I just wanted to have somewhere to kill a little bit of time and have this beautiful free drink. Anyways, yeah, it's raining. It's raining like cats and dogs. It's pretty bad. I went for a walk from just around the block, and the shirt that I had was like a long sleeve. I think it was the Oilers with the Oilers logo on it. And as soon as I got back in, it was drenched. So I immediately had to throw it into the laundry. It'll have to be washed. It got washed from the rain, but it's pretty soaked. So I figured get a quick change and get a quick drink. Oh, everybody left. They didn't want to hear my what is that? I can't remember. Brain gnawing. That's what I was trying to think of. Anyways, now I might seem like I'm not that particularly normal, but like I know a lot of people in the summertime, they love the heat, they love going outside, and I like going outside. I may not be like it. Hello, Armor 1391. Like, it may not look like it, but I like going outside, I like going for walks, but I hate the heat. I hate the humidity. As soon as I stand still, that's all of a sudden it just really kicks in. I can use this as a quick little example, but I don't know, I was working, and I work inside of a building, so unfortunately it does heat up overnight, and I sweat like crazy. And as soon as I go for break and I sit down, then like I think it might be because you're just always on the go, always walking, always doing this, and as soon as you sit still, all of a sudden it's just like that's when your body's like, okay, now we're gonna really feel the heat. And then I find myself, I'm just so warm and just sweating just from that. So not a fan of summer. Spring is all right, but where I live, we only have like maybe a week or two of spring, if that. Hello, Cohen if I pronounce that name correctly. Um, yeah, where I live, I only have a couple weeks of spring. It just doesn't last too long, and fall is my favorite time of the year, and unfortunately, that's the same way. It's basically feels like 10 months of summer and winter combined, and you might have a month in between of fall and spring. It's unfortunate, and the weather it can be minus like 15 one week. The next week it can be plus 10. So it's a huge like your body never has time to adjust to the differential in temperature, and you wonder why so many people get sick so quickly. Is because last week it could have been freezing cold, and now you got to wear shorts and a shirt. So the weather never eases into the next season. It just goes from like one extreme to the next. So it's pretty wild. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying before, is I'd prefer it to be raining and a little chilly over heat. I'm not a heat person. And the one thing I never understood and I never will understand is, let's just say you live somewhere where it's pretty warm for the most part all year round, whether it's North America or over in Europe, Asia, whatever those whatever the other areas around the world experience cold and hot temperatures. But I couldn't imagine going from being warm and then going somewhere hotter. To me, it never added up. Like, it could be 30 or 40 degrees where you're at right now, and you want to go somewhere where it's even hotter. Define the explanation in that. Now, I get it. A lot of people travel in the wintertime where they'll go from a cold place to a hot place. That makes sense. But if it's summertime here and it's hot, why put yourself through that heat in another country? It just made absolutely no sense to me. If I ever went on a vacation somewhere and it's hot, I'm telling you, I'm staying in the hotel or wherever I'm at, and there better be an air conditioner and a fan, because my body cannot deal with heat. It cannot. I hate it. I don't get tanned in the summertime. I'll put it that way. I do not get tanned. Hello, Derek Kelly, if I pronounced that name correctly. But yeah, I do not tan. I'm literally white as a Casper as a ghost, or I am just red like Mr. Crab. There's no in between. And now, one thing I find kind of ironic is how you change from liking certain things from different parts of your life. So I can just use this as an example. This is the first thing that pops in my mind is I used to love going swimming. I used to swim all the time. Didn't matter if it was a lake or a pool. I actually did take swimming lessons. I tried diving, but that was an epic fail, to say the least. So I'm a cannonball kind of guy if I'm jumping into any lake of water. But now I haven't swam in probably a couple of years, and it could be the fact that where I'm at, there's not a whole lot of lakes or rivers to go swimming, so that could play a factor. But I just have very little to no interest in swimming anymore, which is a shame because I love it. If I could live underwater, I'd grow some gills. That'd be fantastic, rent free, right? But yeah, it's kind of funny how like certain things you really like at some point, and then they kind of just drift away, I guess. And I guess you can go through many phases with any sort of likes and dislikes. I remember growing up in the 90s, I'm going to sound old, growing up in the 90s, thank you, Skylar Blaze. Growing up in the 90s, I used to, my cousin and I used to watch wrestling like, all the time, like WWF, whatever it was. And like, that was the shit. That was so awesome. And, you had certain people that you followed. So like, if you ever did watch wrestling back in the 90s, you had like Stone Cold, you got The Rock and Undertaker and all those other guys. And that was probably my favorite wrestler, was The Undertaker at the time. There was just something about him. And the fact that he changed his entrances and his looks throughout the years, at least it wasn't consistent. We had like different phases that he went through. But that was, I don't know, it was interesting, and then you kind of grew out of it after a while. Like, I can't remember the last time I literally sat down and watched like a SmackDown or a Raw. It's probably been a couple of decades. I just have no interest in doing it. If I'm going to watch somebody fight, now, look, I'm not going to crap on them because I know it's staged, and they like the athletes know the outcome of each tournament or match. But they do put their bodies through hell. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and be naive and be like, no, it's all fake. When you jump from a 30-foot cage onto some tables, I'm very much aware that's definitely going to take a toll on your body. But the fact that it's staged, we already know what's going to happen. If I'm going to watch two people duke it out, I'd rather just watch like boxing or UFC. That you have no idea what's going to happen because for the most part, it shouldn't be staged. I mean, not saying players haven't taken a knee or haven't fallen or thrown in the white towel from time to time, but yeah, I'd rather sit down and watch a couple hours of guys do like mixed martial arts, something like that, over a staged fight where half the time you're just screaming into a microphone. But with that being said, I did watch this documentary probably 4 or 5 years ago. It was actually about Andre the Giant, and if you're older than me, you definitely would have watched him growing up in like the 70s. Definitely the 80s was around when he was really big. And speaking about really big, the guy was a giant. And in the documentary, they talked about how he went through a second puberty. So obviously when you go through puberty, you're going to grow and you get all this other stuff that happens to your body. But the fact that he went through 2 puberties in his lifetime, that's why he got as big as he was. There's also there's also other factors into why he was basically an outgrown person. But the one thing that I felt absolutely devastated about, Tom Cruise? No, I was talking about Andre the Giant. I'm just talking about wrestling here for like literally a couple minutes, and then I'm getting back on track. But the one thing that was really sad about the documentary that I watched was whenever he had to use the washroom, and he was too big to fit inside the actual little stall. And let's be fair, to be frank, if you've ever been on a plane, it's very tight and compact to begin with. But I guess that what they did was they had the curtains. They had to just shut the curtains because he couldn't fit his whole body inside there. So imagine having to use the washroom and half your body is sticking out into the hallway. That would be pretty humiliating because everybody would know what you're doing. It's not like you're hiding, you know what I mean? So when I saw that, it was very sad, and obviously it did take a toll on his life, and unfortunately it was cut short. But that was one of those freak things. But you don't really have an understanding until you actually get behind the scenes kind of thing, because if you just watch from a fan's point of view, you watch wrestling or any type of live event, you just assume that's all that it is. You don't know what actually happens or goes on behind the scenes. So that's why I'm a huge fan of like documentaries and stuff like that. Anyways, that's enough about me talking about wrestling, because I have more important things that I'd like to possibly discuss. So I'm going to kind of be all over the place. I'm not really going to stay consistent with just this or just that. So I'm going to be talking about movies. And now the one thing with movies is it's hard for me to really like anything nowadays. I can't tell you the last time I sat down and watched something brand spanking new and was in awe of it and was just mesmerized. I find I'll put something on the TV, I'll get a notification from my phone, I'll probably pay more attention to the phone than I will the TV. Like, it's just very hard for me to focus and just want to watch something from start to end. Now, with that being said, maybe I just am not subscribed to enough places, but like for me, like I do like Netflix because like I said, I am a fan of documentaries, but pretty much every app nowadays has documentaries, so you could literally watch it on Disney Plus, Prime. I wouldn't be surprised if Roku, if it had. I know that's a different thing, but I mean, I think documentaries are just everywhere nowadays. I don't think they're just like one stream and that's it. But like between like Disney Plus, Prime, God, there's so many stream sites now. It's crazy. It's impossible to keep up. But it's been such a long time, and the thing that I've find, and I've noticed this within the last X amount of years, is that you watch a trailer for something, they're pretty much showing you the best parts of the movie. So I'll say this: I've been watching, like I've tried watching a few fairly newer movies, but I wasn't too fond of them. Like I watched the Naked Gun with Liam Neeson. There was probably 2 funny parts in that whole entire movie. I thought it was kind of upsetting, considering they were trying to build on a classic from the 80s and 90s with Liam Neeson, who was the main character for that role back then. So I was pretty disappointed about that. And then I watched. I'm not a big Marvel or DC guy, but I mean I will watch a movie from time to time. But I watched the new Superman movie. I wasn't even that hyped about that either. And I watched the Fantastic Four. I wasn't too fond of that. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've just set the bar too high when it comes to standards and movies and all that other stuff. But like, I feel like CGI is just taking over everything. Like, the actors literally just got to show up and then they'll just like paint their face on anything in the background. So it's hard for me to really like anything in nowadays, I guess. So I don't know. I could just be very picky, and maybe I'm just not at what it is. Cam Ward and Ridley going to cook this. No kidding. Oh, I think so. I think Cam Ward. Sorry, I just seen the message. Yeah, no, I think Cam Ward. He'll definitely be runner up for Rookie of the Year. He has to be after taking the job there. So I think I think him and Ridley should be okay this year. Hello, cool kid forever. But yeah, so when it comes to like movies and stuff like that, it's hard for me to really like it. Now, one thing I am kind of hoping it will be better than the original was it's supposed to come out in October, I think. It's the new Mortal Kombat movie. I've always been a sucker and a fan of that game. I remember going to the arcade and playing that, and they've had so many games on so many different consoles. The last one I liked was probably MK11. I thought the story was pretty good and having all the other characters on there as well, but don't give up. I won't. But I'm hoping that the second one will be a lot better. It looks like they have more characters coming into this sequel. I thought the first one was kind of a bust, and like, not trying to disrespect. I know that some movie franchises want to kind of twist it up when it comes to original stories, but I thought when they added like Cole Young to the first movie and they mainly focused just on him, it was different. Then you found out he was like an ancestor of Scorpion, so that's why how he managed to get his powers. But I just thought that was a little odd, I guess. So we'll see. I'm guessing the second movie is probably going to be focusing on Johnny Cage, since looks like he's going to be the main protagonist, or he should be the main protagonist in the second movie. So I just hope that the second one's a little bit better than the first. The first one I thought was just kind of overrated, in my opinion. But again, I'm not a movie critic, so don't sue me. Okay, so I've talked about wrestling, I've talked about movies. What else can I talk about? Football? Sure, let's talk about football. Why not? I mean, after all, my channel is Sports Guy Talk or whatever it is. So, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. I haven't really had time to upload anything. I've just been so busy with work. So, unfortunately, I think the last time I uploaded something was like a month and a half ago. Once the regular season does start, I will hopefully get back to my regular routine about uploading like previews and reviews of football games. I love to talk about football. I could talk about football all day if YouTube would let me. What time is it? Well, it's about 3:30 where I am, so it just depends what time zone you're in. Anyways, so I know I did this last time on my live, but I might as well. Like, I got time to kill, so what the hell? I'll do my predictions for like the divisions for this upcoming season. I'll start in the NFC. So we'll do the NFC South. We'll try the South. I believe when it comes to that division, there's really only two teams that could possibly get the crown. Tampa should be the favorite to get it again, which would be like 4 or 5 years in a row, which would be incredible. 2:37. Okay, so you must be Pacific time zone. I mean, so yeah, I think Tampa should be the favorite. Atlanta will be a close second. I think they're a better team than what a lot of people are giving them credit for. And I'm sure if you're an Atlanta fan, you'd love to see your team get back into the postseason. It's been a few years, to say the least. And then after that, you got the Panthers and you got the Saints. The standings could go either way. I think maybe the Saints could finish fourth, or the Panthers could finish fourth. Like, they're both teams are young. You could say they're kind of still rebuilding. Now Bryce Young, I think, is going to be in his third or fourth season, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see how he does. He did fare pretty well towards the end of last year, but we'll see. I don't see them finishing ahead of the Panthers. I just don't see the Panthers finishing in second or first place. They're I'm gonna bite my words now when I say this. Like, they're good, but I don't know. I just think that the Buccaneers with Mayfield and Parabix, I believe, at the quarterback for Atlanta, should propel one of those two teams to an NFC South crown. Give me a bet for tomorrow. A bet for tomorrow. My favorite hockey team is Montreal Canadiens. Bryce started to look good, really great at the end of the. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They can improve. They should have more wins than they did last year. I just think it's going to be very tough. And that division, like I said, with the Falcons and the Buccaneers, those are my two favorites for the NFC South crown. Unless somebody happens to get hurt or they both have really bad weeks consistently, week after week. Any locks for tomorrow baseball? Honestly, not really. I'm not that big into it. I try to follow it, but it's too long of a season for me to keep up with. So unfortunately, I'm not a betting man to begin with, and I don't know that much about teams and stuff. And you can have a really crappy team destroy the best team as well. So it's very, very unpredictable. For sure. Yeah, Jays. Yeah, they're doing pretty well this season. They're still in first place of the AL East, if I'm not mistaken. So I know the standings, but I don't. That's about as far as I know. I couldn't name players and stuff like that. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. So yeah, NFC South, I think either the Buccaneers or the Falcons. If the Panthers were to surprise a lot of people, I do not play Fortnite now. If the Panthers were to surprise a lot of people, they could maybe sneak into a wild card, but I just don't see them as winning that South. Okay, so there's the NFC South. Now I'll do the NFC East. I think the Eagles should be favorites to repeat as NFC East champions. Obviously, they're defending Super Bowl champs as well, so everything's going to go through them. In second place now, this is tough. Like I'll do this. I think the Giants are more than likely going to be finishing fourth again. Unfortunately, they got so many different quarterbacks too. Like they got Jameis Winston, they got Russell Wilson, they still got the buddy from last year. Like they got so many. It's a crowded room to say the least. I would be very surprised if they started and ended the season with the same quarterbacks that they had signed and drafted from this past offseason. Anyway, so I think for sure the Giants will finish fourth. And third and second now, that's kind of a flip of a coin. It could either be Commanders and Cowboys or Cowboys and Commanders. The Cowboys should technically be better than they were last year, and they can still be competitive. I mean, it's not like they're on a playoff drought where they've missed it for X amount of years in a row. I think that last year was the first time they missed it in so many years or so many seasons. So the Cowboys should be better than they were last year as long as everybody can stay healthy and Dak keeps doing Dak things. They could still be competitive. That's why I'm like, it could literally go one of two ways. Now, as long as Jaden Daniels doesn't have a sophomore slump, then the Commanders could easily finish in second place again. And I mean, they went all the way to the NFC Championship. They beat out the Lions. They beat out the Buccaneers, and unfortunately, they lost to the Eagles in the NFC Championship. But I mean, that was his rookie season, and he went all the way. He was one game away from the Super Bowl. So I think they're going to be competitive. I really do. Yeah, as long as Jerry Jones exists, the Cowboys are doomed. They've made so many questionable signings or unsignings or trades, and I don't know if anything's been settled with this whole Micah Parsons thing either. Like, he wants to get money, he wants to get paid, and Jerry Jones is saying no. Like, dude, wake up. You got a lot of money. Like, they're not broke. He's a billionaire, for God's sakes. He can afford to sign a player like Micah Parsons. He drafted him, for fuck's sakes, so you want to keep him on your team. Okay, so the NFC, let's do the West. Now, this one here honestly could surprise a lot of people, and like, I don't know if there's a for sure number one favorite. I'll talk about the 49ers. They could surprise us. I mean, they have re-signed certain players, but they've also lost X amount of players as well in the offseason. So I remember when all these teams were signing. It seemed like the 49ers were just like handing players out. Like, you can sign a guy, you can sign a guy, stuff like that. And I know as a Broncos fan, we signed 2 of their defensemen. Niners have the easiest schedule. Yeah, so like they could be favorites. I would not be surprised. Like, Brock Purdy is a pretty decent quarterback. George Kittle is one of the best tight ends. Yes, they lost Deebo Samuel, but I mean, I'm pretty sure they still have IU, if I'm not mistaken. So they have a pretty decent core of players. It's just injuries plagued them last year. Not having Christian McCaffrey really hurt the team last year. There's no question about it. And so if McCaffrey can stay healthy, Purdy can do Brock Purdy things, and Kittle can stay healthy, and I guarantee he'll make a few catches and get a few touchdowns this year. There's no question about it. They have a good team, so they could surprise a lot of people, get back to their winning ways, and get back as NFC West champions. So I'm not even going to put 1 through 4. I'm just going to give reasons why each team in the NFC West has a chance. Like, that is one division that, to me, is up for grabs. Other than that, you got the Seahawks. They were right there last year. I think they finished with the same record as the Rams, who I'll talk about in just a second. I think they were finished 10-7 last year, if I'm not mistaken, just missing out on the playoffs. So they could be back. They could be a good team again. And they signed Sam Darnold, and he helped Minnesota have one of the most successful seasons in recent years. So if he can turn the Vikings around, there's no reason why he can't help out with the Seahawks. There's a reason why he went there. So the Seahawks could easily be the second team that potentially becomes NFC West champions. So like they all really do. If I had to say who is unlikely, maybe Arizona. But again, Arizona, if Kyler Murray can stay off Xbox and stop playing Fortnite or whatever games he's playing, maybe he can concentrate on helping this team hopefully get back to the postseason. Like, they are a pretty good team as well. But if I had to say 1 through 4, I would say they're probably more likely going to finish 4th. It's just a very, very tough division. It'd be different if like one team was dominating, then I'd say, well, they could probably finish 2nd. But do I see them finishing better than the Seahawks? Unlikely. And now I'm going to talk about the Rams here. So I just don't see the Cardinals finishing above either one of those teams. So that's why I really believe that they'll probably finish 4th. But 1 through 3, again, it could be any of the teams. I already made an argument for the 49ers. I already made an argument for the Seahawks and for the Rams. I mean, they're the defending NFC West champions. As long as they got Matthew Stafford on their team, he can help them be championship caliber teams. I mean, his first year, he led them to the Super Bowl. And there's no reason why he can't do it again. They have a very good team. And they added Devontae Adams. But the only thing I questioned about that was why they gave up Cooper Kupp to sign Devontae Adams. Both are in their early to mid-30s, so they're not going to be at their prime, if you know what I mean. But you're still paying both. Like, you were still paying both of them millions of dollars. So, and now Cooper Kupp took that as like an FU, went to the Seahawks. So I find it so ironic, and it's not like it's uncommon for players to sign within the division, because they want to prove to their old team, especially if they got cut or didn't get re-signed, hey, I am still at my peak. I can still do this. I can still do that. I will see you 2 times a year, and I promise you I will haunt you. Doesn't matter if they're from the offensive side or defensive side. They got a chip on their shoulder, and they want to prove you wrong. So I guarantee when Cooper Kupp goes back to LA, he's going to, probably wave the double fingers or middle fingers to the air, and yeah. I guarantee he took that as an FU. It'd be different if they didn't sign Adams. Then I'd be probably thinking they're going through a rebuild. But again, you let go of a guy who was in his early to mid 30s to sign another guy who was in his early to mid 30s. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a strange thing. But anyways, I'm getting all sidetracked here. So even though Matthew Stafford I'm not going to say he's playing on his last legs, but he's definitely winding down towards the end of his career. So I'm sure he'd love to try to get at least one more chance at a championship, because if you've got 2 Super Bowl rings, obviously that's a little bit more impressive than just 1. But with that being said, just getting that first Super Bowl ring after so many years of disappointment, and then in Detroit, just for him to have that first year of success and get to the Super Bowl and win a championship, I'm sure it's going to be the highlight, or one of the highlights from his career. So I think between this is Stafford's last year, I think. Yeah. Like I said, he's definitely on the end of his career. This could be his last year. He might have one more year left, but I got a funny feeling that they're going to be switching quarterbacks here within the next 2 years, I would say, at minimum. So this could be his last hurrah, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, I can't pick a favorite of the NFC West because there's just three good teams that I think could win the champion or could win the NFC West. The Cardinals, for me, are like a wild card. I just don't see them finishing above all three of those teams. They could finish in third. They might surprise us and get to second. But unless all three teams, their quarterbacks go down or their star players get hurt, I just don't see the Cardinals finishing first in that division. So I've already talked about the East, talked about the South and the West. Now, for the last team in the NFC, the last teams in the NFC was the NFC North. Now, this was a crowded division last year as we had three teams make the playoffs last postseason. Obviously, one as a home field, the other two as wild cards. So, this is, for me, is probably going to be, if I said the NFC West had a lot of good teams, like the NFC North could surprise us and have three really good teams again this year. But the third one might surprise you. So I still think Detroit, even though they lost both their offensive and defensive coordinator, they still got a lot of the same players, and they obviously still have Dan Campbell as their head coach. So I'm sure they're putting a lot of faith into their replacements. So I think Detroit could easily get the NFC North for the second year in a row, if I'm not mistaken. I believe, or maybe it's third year in a row, whatever it is. Either way, I'll talk about the AFC West here in just a second. I just want to make my predictions for the NFC North. So I think the Lions are probably the favorite for me, at least, to reclaim their king of the throne, if that makes any sense. Below them, I'll give the Packers the edge as the number 2 seed. They should get back into the playoffs. They're a very good team, young, and they got a very good coach. And Jordan Love is turning out to be a stud of a quarterback. I mean, he's led this team to, I think now, 2 playoff appearances in his 3 years of starting. So he's doing fairly well, to say the least. In third place, I'm going to take the Bears. And then the Vikings in last place. I just think the Vikings are a very good team. Now, I could bite my tongue saying this, and the Vikings could win the division. They could finish second. But I think that the Bears will improve. Caleb Williams did show signs last year at some points that he can be a good quarterback, and there's a reason why they chose him number 1 in the draft as well. I just think it's only because J.J. McCarthy did not play a single snap in the regular season last year. He was supposed to be their quarterback, and he will be their quarterback this year, the future, but unfortunately he got hurt, and I think he tore his ACL or something like that in the preseason last year, so unfortunately he missed the entire 2024-25 campaign. Now, there have been rookies, obviously Jaden Daniels did it last year, that took the world by storm and propelled their team to greatness, so I'm not counting that out at all. I'm just want to be a little bold, just a little bold, and give the Bears fans just a little bit something to look forward to other than being in last place again in the division. I don't know. They added the defensive coordinator, I believe, from Detroit, or the offensive coordinator. It was one of the two. So I just think, as their head coach, so I just think they should be a lot better than they were last year, especially with the play calling from whoever the coach was last year. I still can never understand, if anyone watched football last year, on Thanksgiving, it was the Bears and Lions, and the Bears had a timeout. There was like 30 seconds to go or something like that. They didn't take it. They let the clock wind all the way down, and then they threw a last-second Hail Mary, and it was incomplete. I still never understood that, because they easily could have ran one more play, got a little bit closer, kicked a field goal, and they could have won that Thanksgiving matchup. And I remember I made a video about that, and I'm not a Bears fan or a Lions fan, but I was so incensed as to how you could be that ignorant when somebody should have said something before the clock went down. That was so stupid. And I mean, I'm not an NFL coach. I don't have the credentials to be one, but as a fan, I was literally screaming at the TV saying, call a timeout. Because if you call a timeout, you run one more play. If you are in bounds, you hurry up and bring the field goal team on. Or if you get a catch, go out of bounds, you obviously, the clock stops. So, like, you had 2 or 3 options you could have done rather than make the clock go all the way down to like won and then snapped the ball. It made no sense to me at the time. But anyways, that's ancient history now. So again, I'll give the Bears a little bit of credit. They should be better than they were last year. So I'll go Lions, Packers, Bears, and Vikings. Now again, I could bite my tongue. The Vikings could easily finish in second place again next year. They could. J.J. McCarthy could be a fantastic quarterback. It would technically be his sophomore year, but realistically, it's his rookie year because he didn't play at all last year. So that's my bold prediction for the NFC. Now the AFC. Here we go. This is my bread and butter. I'm going to start with the division with the team that I cheer for. So I'll always go with the best, and then I'll do the rest. AFC West. You got 4 Hall of Fame coaches. You have 3 playoff caliber teams. And if the Raiders weren't stuck in the AFC West, they would get into the playoffs. But unfortunately, there's no way 4 teams from the AFC West are getting in, considering I'm going to say at least 2 teams from the AFC North will get into the playoffs. So therefore, that's only going to leave 2 options for a wild card spot. Okay. I have suffered for 10 years with these Kansas City Chiefs. There's like just pesky little buggers that just never go away. They're essentially the newest version of the Patriots from the 2000s. They're always winning the division. They're always in the Super Bowl, or at least making a run to the Super Bowl. And they're basically like public enemy number 1 on every other single fan's base, unless you're a Chiefs fan. That's it. You don't have America behind you. You have your fan base, and that's it. So I just want to see some change. And it's funny because me being a Taurus, I can't stand change. But in this case, I would definitely take a change of crown winners for the AFC West. Yes, thank you. So I'm not a Raiders fan, even though I am in black. I'm not a Chiefs fan, clearly, because I'm going on a bit of a rant about how I'm so sick of the consistency of this team being so successful. I just want to see them go look 0-17. Please, football gods, at some point in my lifetime, make them bad again. That's all I ask. Just make them go bad, be basement dwellers, and then we can all forget about their whole little mini dynasty that they've struck on. Anyways, so, yeah. I'm going to say one of 2 things is going to happen. Should happen. As long as our cards are all being played right, I want to see the Chiefs get to a wild card spot. Not because, well, I mean, for basic reasons. I'm just tired of seeing them always winning the AFC West. But I want to see them get challenged again. So I don't know if anyone remembers, I think it was 2 playoffs ago, they finished as the number 3 seed, if I'm not mistaken, and then they had to go on the road to Buffalo and to Baltimore, and then they eventually went to the Super Bowl. I just want to see them not have home field advantage in the playoffs. That's the only thing I want. Now, again, we did get a preview of it 2 years ago, but unfortunately, they won both those games. And I was so pissed because I was hoping the Bills could have finally got over that hump, got back to the Super Bowl last year. 2 years ago, I was hoping Lamar could have gotten the Ravens to the Super Bowl. It didn't happen. So I just want to see a change. So I just want to see them finish as a wild card spot. They're making the playoffs. There's no question about it. Will they win the AFC West again? I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it for a second. There's just something about Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. They click. They're, like I said, they're the modern day Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and Bill Belichick. That's what they are, honest to God. And all of them are going to be future Hall of Famers at the end of their careers. So I want them to finish in a wildcard spot, as I said before, which means either the Chargers or the Broncos, who are my team, will be AFC West champions, finally ending that drought. I believe all 3 of those teams are making the playoffs. I would be very heartbroken if my team just didn't do it, which they should, because Sean Payton's a great coach. Again, future Hall of Famer. And Bo Nix, they finally have our quarterback of the future. It's not Trevor Siemian. It's not Brock Osweiler. It's not Paxton Lynch. It's not Trevor Siemian. It's not, oh my God, the list goes on and on. It's not Joe Flacco. It's not Case Keenum. It's not Drew Lock. It's not Russell Wilson. I can't stand that trade. To this day, I'm like, oh, I'm biting my tongue so hard not to rant about that. That was unreal. Yeah, Zach Wilson, but he was a third string quarterback last year. He didn't play any snaps, so I wasn't concerned about him ruining our franchise. But we finally got our quarterback of the future, Bo Nix, and I love him. And if it wasn't for Jaden Daniels, he would have got Rookie of the Year. Not trying to sound biased, but look at his stats. Anyways, so AFC West, either the Chargers or the Broncos. I'm not going to pick one of them and say they're for sure going to win it. I just want to see one of them win it. Now, would I prefer to see the Broncos be winners over the Chargers? Sure. But as long as anybody dethrones the Chiefs, I don't care. As much as I can't stand the Raiders, if they won the AFC West and the Chiefs didn't, I'd be like, okay, cool. At least it wasn't the Chiefs. Would I prefer any of the teams other than the Broncos to win? Well, obviously, I want my team to win. But that's just me being me. So I just want to see one of those two teams finally end that 9 or 10 year consistent straight record of AFC West champions. Again, all three teams should make the playoffs, but man, I can't stand the Chiefs. I hate them. I think I hate them more than the Raiders. Thank you. I appreciate that. And look, I'm not crapping on the Chargers. They're a very good team. They have a wonderful coach. Again, a future Hall of Famer once he retires. Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback. I'm willing to say he's not top 5. He's definitely top 10 quarterback, in my opinion. That's just me. But anyone can have different opinions and make it their own top 5 and top 10 list. He's a very good quarterback. It's just unfortunate that they've had 2 playoff appearances and they got bounced in the first round to the Jaguars and then last year to the Texans. So you got to win the division. That's all I'm saying. If you want to go farther than the playoffs, you got to win your division. That's all I got to say. Anyway, so AFC West, I already talked about that. AFC South, Texans got that division all day. There's nobody catching them. Nobody's even close to them. There's a reason why. Yeah, unfortunately, he didn't. Yeah, but he'll be back. He'll be back. Like they'll have some success. Don't worry. Like if it's not this year, it'll be next year. But he'll make the playoffs. Or the Chargers will make the playoffs. They'll go win a game or two. It'll happen. Like it has to happen. Anyway, AFC South, yeah. So the Texans got that division hands down. I don't see anybody catching them. They should win it for 3 straight years. CJ Stroud is elite. I mean, he won Rookie of the Year just 2 seasons ago. He's led the team to 2 straight division wins, 2 straight playoff wins. Unfortunately, they lost to the Chiefs in both their divisional matchups. So, outside the Texans, who can really compete with them? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think there is. Like the Colts, maybe you can make an argument because 2 years ago it came down to the Colts and Texans, and then the Texans won the division. But Trent Richardson's been so inconsistent. Like I don't know if I'd put all my faith in him. And then you also got Daniel Jones. Oh man, I could go on probably a 5-minute rant about that guy and his contract with the Giants. Oh man, as much as I hate the Russell Wilson contract, that one was just horrendous. Anyways, I don't want to talk about that because, like I said, I'll literally just probably scream for 5 minutes. I'm not even a Giants fan. That was just a horrible contract. He had 1 good year. That was it. Anyways, yeah, so the Colts, I don't know how much faith I have in them. I mean, like, they were okay last year, but they weren't great. And then outside of them, you got the Jaguars and the Titans. I mean, one of those 2 teams could surprise us, and one of those 2 teams could finish second or third in the division. Like, 2nd to 4 is up for grabs. I just think the Texans got that first place hands down. AFC East, here we go. Bills, hands down, they'll get that division again. Okay, now I know I've always kind of complained about teams always winning consistently and always being division winners and stuff like that, but the Bills winning now, I'm cool with that. Maybe it's because I hated the Patriots because the Patriots and Broncos used to play each other when they had Manning and Brady, and all the other times we had quarterbacks that went up against the Patriots when lost. I hated Brady. I hated the Patriots so much. But now I'm cool with like the Bills winning the division every year, and they probably will win it for X amount of years. They're a very good team. Josh Allen just won the MVP. He's definitely in a top 5 conversation when it comes to quarterbacks. There's no question about it. And then I don't know. There's just something about that team. It's special. And then they got James Cook running the ball. He's a very elite running back in the league, and they're going to be a dangerous team. They're going to be in the championship conversation for years to come, as long as they don't have to play the Chiefs or the Ravens or the Bengals in the playoffs. They'll make it. In second place, I'll say the Dolphins. Third place, Patriots. Fourth place, Jets. That's what I'll say. Now, with the Jets, you got Justin Fields. He had a good start to last year with Pittsburgh. Then he got benched for Russell Wilson, and then he didn't play a single snap after that. So he hasn't really been consistent. He did play for Chicago for his first 2 years of his career. Didn't fare out that well. So I don't know. I haven't really seen that much out of Justin Fields to really say he's elite or he has room for improvements. So that's why I don't think the Jets are going to finish any higher than third or fourth in that division. But I believe that the Dolphins should finish second. I'd be surprised if they finish third or fourth, as long as they got Tua. I'm not going to say his last name because I can't. On the team, they should be good. I mean, he has led them to 2 playoff appearances. Now, granted, the first time he didn't play because he was hurt, but he did play against the Chiefs. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I got the Bills with the AFC East, no question. I don't see any team dethroning them. And then lastly, the AFC North. Here we go. Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns. Steelers are not getting the division. I don't care if they got a 42 or 43-year-old quarterback at their helm. He ain't doing SHIT in that division as long as you have Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, by the way, and Joe Burrow, who's a very elite quarterback. Like, there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in this league, and you can make an argument for almost every quarterback that they're in the top 5 or top 10 conversation. Lamar, definitely in the top 5, in my opinion. Joe Burrow, you could say if he's not in the top 5, he's in the top 10. There's just so many good quarterbacks in this league. It's hard to really pinpoint who's the best and go through like 1 through 5 or 1 through 10. There's so many good quarterbacks in both the NFC and the AFC. So, yeah, I got the Ravens winning that division. If they don't, it'll be the Bengals. One of those 2 teams will get the AFC North. I'd be very shocked if Pittsburgh did that. They're a good team, and I don't want teams to fail. I like seeing success, but I just want to see, now maybe this is just me, I just want to see the Steelers get below 500 for the first time since Tomlin's been their head coach. It's never happened. He's always finished at least 500 or better. I just want to see them just go dip down. Be a 7-10 team. Be an 8-9 team. Come on. You can't keep this up forever. That's physically, it makes no sense. It doesn't matter who has a quarterback. He somehow has success and finishes above 500 or 500 at best. It never made any sense to me. They could do a rebuild, get rid of every single player, put all new people in there, and they just still finish above 500. I don't know what it is, man. Like, he's just got the aura. He'll definitely be in the Hall of Fame when his career is all said and done. But to me, it's so unfathomable. You look at any other team in a 20-year stretch, we'll say. Has your team always finished 500 or better? I guarantee not. I guarantee you not. There's just something about that Steelers way, man. Like, I just can't fathom it. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Whether you have Big Ben or you got a guy with no credentials at all. Like, it's unfathomable as to how successful they've been under one head coach in 20 years. It makes no sense to me. But I still think they'll finish third. There's no way the Steelers are finishing fourth. Unless the Browns have an unbelievable rookie season with their quarterback. Who knows? That's one team I feel so bad for, is the Browns. It's impossible to have any success when you have 2 like Super Bowl caliber teams year in, year out. whether it was the Steelers and Ravens from the 2000s, 2010s, or the Ravens and Bengals in the 2020s. It's unfair to them that they have to be in that division, because if they were in the AFC East or AFC South, they would propel to greatness. They would even probably win a division or two. But it's just, I don't know. I don't want to talk smack about fan bases, but I couldn't be a Browns fan. I would be heartbroken year after year. And that whole Deshaun Watson contract, even if they get rid of him, they're still going to be paying him hundreds of millions of dollars for dead cap space. So if you're a Browns fan, I feel for you. Like, I really feel for you. I'm sorry, but it's not a fair world, and the football gods definitely ain't on your side. So anyway, I think I've talked for 50 minutes already. Holy crap. I was honestly only expecting to do this for like maybe 20 minutes at best, but this has almost been an hour. This is amazing. Now I just need to get 200 more subscribers, and then maybe YouTube will pay some attention to me. So if you guys like this, what you see, and all this foolish crap that comes out of my mouth, feel free to spread the word, because if I can make this channel grow, that would be incredible. And as I said at the beginning, I do plan on making some more videos. I haven't uploaded anything in like a month and a half, but I do plan on making some more videos here once the NFL season gets rolling. So I'll be pretty pumped to make my predictions and get ready for another year of another short season. I don't understand. It seems like the season's like 5 months and the off season's 7. It's so unfair. Anyways, I'm gonna head back now. I'm starting to get a little tired, so if I don't upload a video within the next couple days, then for sure once football season starts in September, like I said, I want to keep to my word and try to make this as consistent or more consistent as I will moving forward. So for those that have tuned in for the entire time, or even just for a couple minutes, I really appreciate you taking the time and to take out of your day/night, depending on where you're at around the world. So yeah, until next time, and as always, take care.